Right. And I think, and I'm going to kind of tie this next question in with the adversarial process that we talked about earlier. And because divorce is an adversarial process, because people feel as though if I'm not a winner, then I'm a loser, and the stakes are so high that we tend to try and color the other relationships that our children have with the other parent because we want them to pick our side. We want them to pick us. And so why is it so important for parents to protect their children from feeling like they have to pick sides?
So it's a very important question. When children feel that they have to pick sides, and they often feel that they need to just in overhearing an argument or even just a disagreement between their parents. Mm-hmm. Children experience what we call a conflict of loyalties. Mm-hmm. And so at that moment, when mom and dad or mom and mom or dad and dad are arguing with one another, the child feels literally think about this in a painful way. What would it feel like to feel torn, right? Mm-hmm. They feel torn. Do I side with mom? Is my other parent being mean, or do I side with my other parent because this parent's being mean? So they experience it, the negative feelings. If they decide I'm going to side with, and I apologize, I'm going to use gender specific, but I hope that everybody who's dialing in and listening to this and understands that I'm just doing it out of time, sense for time, right. Rather than implying that there aren't two dads or two moms, right, or divorce in those situations, because of course there are. So if a child feels like they need to side with mom, okay, so they side with mom, but then they feel guilty that they didn't, because maybe they're being mean to dad, but then, or they side with dad, but then they feel guilty because they're siding, with him and not with mom. So they wind up feeling guilty for something that's not their problem. So it's a lose-lose situation because the child feels terrible either way. Right. I also think, and I want to mention this right here because a lot of the time parents don't realize that it's not just about the words they're saying, it's about their tone of voice. So, and because it brings up a memory I'm from a divorced family, and it brings up a memory from my childhood after my parents were divorced. And I don't remember what the context was, but I remember my mother saying this, well, your father. Mm-hmm. And I was a kid, I didn't realize about tone of voice. And I said, don't call him that. She goes, oh, well, he is your father. Mm-hmm. But it was the your father, right? Right. That was a criticism. And, of course, what did it create for me? Conflict of loyalty, had to choose, I'm defending dad, too much power. I shouldn't have to defend anybody as a child, right? Mm-hmm. I shouldn't have to be picking sides. I shouldn't have to be defending. I shouldn't have to feel torn. Kids, you said so succinctly earlier, Heather, that kids have the right to love and respect both parents.
Absolutely.
When we put them in a position of being in a conflict of loyalty, they are not in a position where they can love both. They're having to choose.
Right. And I kind of equate it to if both of their parents were still together and if their parents had a wonderful marriage and it was a fairy tale and everything went perfectly, they wouldn't have to pick sides. And the idea in your divorce, in putting your children's best interest first, should be putting the focus on what would their life be like if we were still together. Exactly. Would they be put in the middle to determine whether or not, would they be allowed to choose mom's house or dad's house? Or would they be put in the middle of these arguments? Or would they be put in these situations? Well, no, they wouldn't. So,
exactly.
Let's try to keep it as close to what they would be entitled to if both of their parents were together.
Perfect points. Absolutely. I love that idea of what would it be if we weren't divorced.
Right.
What would our child have to negotiate or not? That's great. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.